Netflix has inarguably changed the way we consume entertainment. When was the last time you watched something on your TV or the theater? Now, when was the last time you watched something on Netflix? We bet the tab is right open beside this video. Despite its growth into a multimedia giant, Netflix came from humble beginnings. It was early 2007 and the internet was taking the world by storm. You can now watch your favorite shows and movies online via streaming services. This meant never having to go through the tedious process of renting a DVD ever again. Netflix, the company that started as a DVD delivery service, had to keep up with the times and expanded to a catalog of shows you could watch online. Moreover, you could consume as much as an entire season in one go. What came to be later known as binge watching was first capitalized on by Netflix. Initially planning to allow users to stream movies on their platform, Netflix soon recognized that it wouldn't be able to efficiently capture that market. The primary reason behind that, Netflix wouldn't get their hands on a movie until 1 year after it was in theaters. Even after that, their platform would only snag the rights to stream it for a mere 8 to 12 months. Netflix's primary appeal came from being able to watch non-episodic shows whenever you wanted, wherever you wanted. These kinds of shows were largely ignored by the TV networks, who instead chose to focus on shows like Friends or Seinfeld, which you could watch out of order whenever you happened to tune in. Netflix recognized this gap in the market. Its unique online model would allow it to capture the audience that wanted to stream prestige narrative dramas. This benefited the networks as well as it would generate viewer interest in the season currently on air. So much so that some shows would become central topics of national pop culture conversation. However, the company knew it wouldn't be able to continuously bring profits with its rerun-focused business model, since networks would eventually be able to offer streaming services of their own. It had to produce its own shows to compete with the market, and Netflix did exactly that. Although this was a very risky and bold proposition, there wasn't an alternative in sight. At a time when networks approved shows based on whether the pilot was able to check certain boxes, Netflix allowed showrunners and producers to create entire seasons or two, and the gamble paid off. Netflix's first show, House of Cards, was a mega hit, with stars like Kevin Spacey and a director like David Fincher. Netflix proved that even as a streaming service, it was a force to be reckoned with. Eventually, Netflix decided to pour more and more money into producing original content, diversifying and expanding its range from movies and TV shows to anime and kids shows. There isn't a niche Netflix isn't catering to. It wouldn't be prudent to say that Netflix had replaced television, and the stats agree. More people are unsubscribing from their cable plans every year. At the same time, Netflix users continue to grow. Consumers love when they can watch their favorite TV shows at their own convenience. What intrigues them is the freedom of choice, but what keeps them on is the large variety of original content that Netflix has to offer. Netflix original movie Bird Box was viewed by 45 million accounts on its first weekend, enough to give ample competition to the most popular movies in theaters. Netflix also aggressively mines user data, determining what genres are most sought after, what kind of content strikes a chord with its audience, what to invest in as the company produces more original content. Netflix's AI also uses this data to come up with recommendations and personalized lists for its users. In an era where we move towards a more individualistic watching experience, Netflix has kept ahead. Netflix has become so popular that there is even a term named after it: the Netflix effect. You all remember Queen's Gambit, right? Although the show was well made, the reactions to it were unbelievable. The show was watched by 62 million households in the first 28 days since it aired. The ripple effect thereafter led to a resurgence of the interest in chess. People were lining to take chess classes and buy chess sets around the world. There was an increase in viewership on chess channels on Twitch as well. People so desperately wanted to be the next Beth Harmon or the next Magnus Carlsen. It was believed that the craze would die down as interest in the show started to dwindle with time, but many optimists believe that the show contributed towards a generation-long interest in the game. Another worthy example would be Netflix's thriller Korean drama Squid Game. The success of the Korean film Parasite at the Oscars brought the world to pay closer attention to Korean cinema. It would be a stretch to presume that it paved the way for the popularity of Netflix's Squid Game, but that is not to say that the world of Korean cinema was entirely unknown. Both Korean dramas and films enjoy cult devotion throughout the world, but their success in the West encouraged a lot of people to move past the small barrier of subtitles to experience an entirely new world of good television and film. Squid Game is a story of hundreds of cash-strapped individuals competing for a huge sum of prize money and is on its way to becoming Netflix's biggest show yet, both in terms of financial success and viewership. A similar example of a foreign TV show that has done extremely well would be Money Heist. Besides originally being in Spanish, the crime drama enjoys religious devotion all over the world. It turns out that language never mattered, as long as the content was engaging and the characters convincing. Netflix has blurred the borders of entertainment. If it is good enough, it will be streamed and celebrated all over the world. Who would have thought that a DVD rental company would be defining and redefining entertainment?